Good evening, dear devotees and friends. This Wednesday evening, we'll be studying the Panchama Veda, the Gospel of Bhagavan Sri Ram Krishna. So let us begin with this. Tava kathamritam tapta jivanam kabi viriritam kalmashapaham sravana mangalam sri madatatam bhuvi grinanti e bhurida janaha. Last week we couldn't do because there was some puja celebration was there, and we completed one chapter, that is the Master and Narendra. And wonderfully, there's so many different type of discussions that was going on. The Master was telling there is no harm in disobeying your elders for the sake of God. So when we are going towards God, going to try to realize God, sometimes the parents, they say, no, you should not go. That is the time one can say no to the mother or the father or the senior people. Because this is a greater thing that we are going to achieve. So this is the injunctions of the scripture and injunctions of the avatars also. So he was doing like this. After saying this, he gave some example. Now today we will begin another chapter, chapter 38, with the devotees in Calcutta. That is page 724 we are beginning. It was March 11, 1885. On the morning of Wednesday, March 11, Sri Ramakrishna and some of his disciples visited Balaram Bose's house. Balaram was indeed blessed among the householder disciples of the Master. Sri Ramakrishna often described him as a Rashaddar, or the supplier of store, appointed by the Divine Mother to take care of his physical needs. Balaram's house in Calcutta had been sanctified many times by the Master's presence. There he frequently lost himself in samadhi, dancing, singing, or talking about God. Those of the Master's disciples and devotees who could not go to Dakshineshwar visited him there and received his instruction. He often asked Balaram to invite young disciples such as Rakhal Bhavanath Narendra to his house, saying, "These pure souls are the veritable manifestations of God. To feed them is to feed God Himself. They are born with special divine attributes. By serving them, you will be serving God." So friends, when we are reading this, those who have already visited that particular house, which is now one of the centers of the Ramakrishna mission, the family of the Balaram Bose, they have donated that house to the Ramakrishna mission. And it is a very important place, and Bagbajar, and that is the area. Anyone nearby can go and visit and there it is written on the wall in a plaque that it has been sanctified, visited by Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna more than 100 times. Can you imagine the old type of the Jamindar's house? The moment you enter the little courtyard and the office rooms and all that, then the inside you have to go where the people used to reside, the families, they could reside there. So still it is everything as it is. And a open big space where now it is a shrine, so that there Sri Ramakrishna used to go and take rest. Sometimes he used to sleep over there, and the devotees used to meet him there. Still it is there, everything. And there Sri Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna went into Samadhi for so many times. So obviously, if after reading this, and when you go over there, we can imagine these are the places Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna used to sit, Sri Ramakrishna used to talk, Sri Ramakrishna used to go into Samadhi, and this is the place where he danced, and so many things associated to the holy company. This is the holy, the word that has been used, the pure souls. So who are the pure souls? That is a question always. People, they think that sometimes people, they don't tell lies and they're not harming others, and they call it pure souls. Of course, they are very good people, moral people. But at the same time, in the Bhagavad Gita we find in the 13th chapter, in the 10th verse, Bhagavan Sri Krishna, he is mentioning who is a pure soul. Moicha ananya yogena bhakti abhyabhicharini vivikta desha sevitam arati jana samsadi. The first quality of a holy person is he is devoted to God, is completely devoted to God, and all the time bringing back his mind, which is naturally going out to the different objects of this world. We are rolling it back, bringing it back and giving it to God. So that is the second. Vivikta desha sevitam is a love to live in a quiet place, of course with some holy company. Vivikta desha sevi. Why quiet place? Because when the other people are there, different type of things are going on, and that naturally influence the mind of the person who is trying to develop the spirituality. So it is better, those who are trying to develop the spirituality, it is better to go to a secluded place. With some same minds, those will be also, and make a routine that morning we will get up, and after the ablutions we will go to the shrine. We will sit over there for this 1 hour or so, and then we will come out to read some books, do some these, that, a routine. So that is the ashramic routine. Sometimes some people, they like to come to the ashrama. Of course, here we don't give that much another stress that you must follow. But slowly, slowly, it is better to understand the ashrama living means to follow those things, to come and utilize that shrine atmosphere. Vivikta desha sevi and arati jana samsadi. Arati jamsadi, shunning the company of the worldly people. The worldly people will be talking about different type of things, with the politics and the social thing. That is all arati jana samsadi. So that one should always give up. They should not be with them. Why? Because mind is one mind. It comes on the surface of the mind and it impresses. There will be something will be there in the mind. So that is the main thing we should shun. So this is the way Bhagavan Krishna is mentioning in the 13th chapter. And he is telling one should completely dedicate to God. Second, he always loves to live all alone, living in a solitude, or in the company of the holy people, other holy people. And thirdly, shunning the company of the worldly minded people. These are the three. So how we will know that we are becoming pure? By this. So our love for God, hankering for God, to know God, that will be the first thing. Swami Vivekananda, in his Bhakti Yoga, he has mentioned the who can be the student. The conditions necessary for the taught are purity, a real thirst after knowledge, and perseverance. No impure soul can be really religious. So what is the impurity? Thought about the world, thought about the selfishness, for the carnal desires and all this. That is impurity. Anything except the divine, except the God, is impure. What is this impurity? Because it is temporary. It attracts, but then ultimately it gives us misery, pain. So that is the impurity. We have to, the purity in thought, speech and act is absolutely necessary for anyone to be religious. So we try a lot. So many people are trying constantly in different religion, in different faiths, in different paths. People are trying. As because we do not understand whether we are making any progress in spiritual life or not, this is very, very important to understand. Am I making any progress? Otherwise, years after years we are in this and we are listening to the discussions, we are singing the devotional songs, we are visiting holy places, reading holy books. But how I will know that I am really progressing? So these are the main. Friends, that Balaram Bose's house where these devotees used to go, not only that, with Sri Ramakrishna, of course, when Sri Ramakrishna was not there, when he passed away, Balaram Bose's house door was open for the disciples of Sri Ramakrishna. As Sri Ramakrishna said, that you must invite the disciples like the Rakhal, Bhabonath, Narendra. He mentioned one or two. Mostly in those days, those who came out and they were ready to dedicate themselves in the name of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. There was no organization of the Ramakrishna mission for the disciples of Sri Ramakrishna. This Balaram Bose was a great help. And sometimes some rich people, they will help, but at the same time they will dictate. They will say, okay, you can come and stay in our house, but at the same time they will go on dictating those holy people that, oh, you should not do this, you should do that, you should behave like this, you should eat this. Constantly they will be nudging, they will be dictating. That is not the way one should serve the holy people. They are free. You are rather feeling that I am really blessed that I am serving God through them. Why? Because they are constantly thinking of God. They are meditating on God. They have dedicated their life for God. So that is the reason one should be humble. Balaram was very, very humble. We can never find anywhere that he boasted that this many sadhus came and they stayed. And even Ma Sharadamani Devi used to come sometimes, and majority of the direct disciples of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. So we should read the life of Balaram Bose also. Very interesting. So humble, so capable. And that's why Sri Ramakrishna mentioned the mother, the divine mother. He instructed Balaram to become the supplier, the helper. In the Bhagavata we find that the Brahma, he summoned all the gods and goddesses and the holy people, that the holy souls, they were there in the heaven. Now get ready. You have to go down and take the human form and different forms to help the avatara. The God is going to take the human form and he will perform some divine activities over there to establish the religion, to make people aware about the righteousness. So you should also go, take different form and help him in that work. In the Bhagavata, it is there. When the Lord Vishnu decided to become the Krishna. At the time of Ramachandra also, all the Banaras, this is not the monkeys that we find. They were a group of people, a sort of a tribal people. They were educated, they were cultured, they were wealthy, they were powerful. Now we think, I don't know why people by mistake, that it is the monkeys. No. The animals, no. They were human beings. But they used to have their symbol as a monkey. Now also, so many people in the modern time also, when there is a game, there will be a mascot, will be a dog, a puppy, and these and that. So many. So different. So now afterwards, if the people say, oh, they were all the puppies, no, it is not like that. The mascot was that monkey. Why? The mind is so restless. So they wanted to control their mind. They were yogis and they used to rule so many places. So naturally, we have to understand it clearly. Not the monkeys or the trees, they're animals. They cannot control their mind. So the people, those who were there, they used to worship, they used to accept the monkey as their mascot, and they used to think in that way, they used to practice yoga. They were very strong people. Similarly, same way Krishna came, and when Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna came, same way all these people they came, they took birth, and they were supporting Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. And this is Balaram was one of them, whose duty was to support Sri Ramakrishna. Whenever he will come to Calcutta, he can stay over there, he can get food over there. And that food Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna accepted. It was very difficult for him to accept food anywhere because of the swatika quality. But Balaram's food he used to take. Why? Because Balaram was not having any ego. When the person is ego-free completely, then it becomes a purity, pure person. So Sri Ramakrishna is mentioning. And about the purity, when he talk about the pure soul, we find that Guru Vasishta, in the Yoga Vasishta, the Guru Vasishta, while talking with Sri Ramachandra, he said, how you will understand a holy person? And very clearly he mentioned, Lobha, Moha, Rusham Yasya, Tonutanum Dinam Bhabet, Yatha Shastra Biharati Swakarmashu Sa Sajjana. Here he said Sajjanas. Sajjana, the pure soul. And who? First is Lobha. There is no greed. There is no hankering. Why? Satisfied with God. He is meditating on God, he is praying to God, and he is talking with God, he is worshipping God mentally. Then naturally, is Lobha, the greed was not there, should not be there. So how we will know that a person is holy? This is really very difficult. There's so many holy people will be there all around, different type of dresses, different type of attires. Then how we will know who is a holy person? It's not the dress. It's not the place he is living. Maybe in a high altitude, in a cave, he is living. Maybe it's good that he can do that. But it is not the place. It is not the dress. It is not the food. But very important, his behavior, his character. What is that? Lobha, there is no greed. There should not be any greed. How we will know that we are making progress in spiritual life? That is the very frequently asked question. The first thing, we are free from greed. And not that in one day the whole greed will go, whole desire will go. Greed means the desire, strong desire. Not in one day. He is telling, Tonutanum dinam bhabet. Slowly it is becoming lesser and lesser. Then the young man, he used to feel that I should have this, I should have that, like that. Slowly understood it is of no use. I was thinking that if I can study medicine, I will become a doctor, I will become very happy, I will earn a lot of money, a lot of respect in the society. Then I studied, and then afterwards I became a doctor. I established, then now I feel, oh, it is nothing. The joy, the happiness that I am expecting, it is not, I am not getting from this. And sometimes some positions, sometimes the people, they will be killing others to become the king. After being king, he understands, oh no, it is nothing like that. The administrators is so terrible thing. So after seeing it, understanding it, knowing about them, those clever people, they give up the desires. So lobha, then moha, the delusion. Delusion is this wrong thinking. That if I become a king, I will be very happy, then after becoming a king. So why I have to all the time experience that? I can understand by seeing others, by hearing about them, by reading about them. The history book is constantly teaching us that everything is so temporary. So that delusion will go slowly about this, the worldly attractions. And rusham means anger. The lobha, moha, rusham yasya tonutanum dinam bhavet. So we are getting free from the desire, free from delusion, free from anger. Why anger they mention? Guru Vasishta. Because when we are not fulfilling our desire, we become angry. Anger comes from that. Anger, suddenly, the many people, they say, how to control anger. So sometimes we say that it is, you must inquire, dissatisfied desire that makes a person angry. Dissatisfied desire. So that one should be very careful. Why I am angry? There was a hidden and very subtle type of desire that was not fulfilled, is not becoming fulfilled. So I am feeling irritated, becoming angry. So these three are related. The lobha, moha, rusham, the greed, the delusion, the anger, when becoming less and less, that means we are making progress towards the spiritual life, the God realization. Then the second, it says, yatha shastra biharati. He is living, surviving according to the injunction of the scripture. What the scripture says? The Bhagavad Gita is the scripture, and there are other scriptures also. Then you should live according to these. And what is that? Swadharme nidhanam sreya paradharma bhayavaha. Here also he says, Guru Vasishta is telling, swakarmasu. Swakarma. Whatever is my duty, is my responsibility as a doctor, as an engineer, as a professor, as a scientist, as an administrator, as a businessman, whatever that responsibility that I have taken, genuinely I should perform that. And happily I should do that. Why? This I like it. Then obviously I am doing. So after that I am completely free. I am charging my fees. I am charging also having some profit after the business. Of course, it is necessary. And when I am working somewhere, I am getting the salary. So that is to maintain myself and my family. Nothing wrong in it. I am not doing harm to anyone. So from there, I am progressing. Swakarmasu. But sometimes some people, they will be unnecessarily, they are not, but they will be showing that they are religious people. After the retirement, nothing to do. So they will read some book, they are intelligent, they will write a book, they will then publish that, and they will try to give some spiritual instructions. Wrong. That is not his swadharma, that is not his swakarma. So one must be careful about that. Have you lived that life that you are talking about, giving instructions? If you have not, then you should not. So what is the injunction of the scripture? Whatever responsibility that you have accepted, you must follow that diligently, perform that without any attachment. Again and again, whatever you do without any attachment, do it perfectly, as perfect as possible for you, and then wash your hand, offer it to God. That's all. So this way if you do, sa sajjana, then the Vasishtha is telling he is the pure soul. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna said that if you feed Narendra, who became Vivekananda afterwards, became very famous by that name, that if you bring him and feed him, it will be like serving the God. Why? He is a sajjana. He is a pure soul. How could you know that he is a pure soul? He was having these qualities. And thirdly, I will conclude about this, when according to Shankaracharya, Shankara had a very wonderful method. He will be asking a question and giving the answer himself. So he asked a question, Ke santi santo? Ke santi santo? Santa means the pure soul. Santa means a monk, a recluse, a holy person, Santa. The Ke santi santo, he is asking that question. Who is a pure soul? Then he is giving the answer himself. First, Akhila Bita Raga. Look at it. Akhila means entirely. Bita, gone. Raga, desire. One who is completely free from desire. This desire is the main thing. So when we have a desire for name, fame, wealth, popularity, all this progeny, the desire after desire. The whole world is nothing but the desire. So when any desire is there, that those who give up the hearth and home, most of the cases, they can overcome the lust and gold, lust and lucre, like that. So they can overcome. But the great difficulty for those people is the appreciation. That is the desire. Lokamanyata in Sanskrit. The people are appreciating. That is dangerous for a pure soul. So you should be capable to expound the scripture, give the answer, the spiritual answer. You should be able to understand the intricacies of the philosophy, and because of your realization, so that is one thing. But when you are giving the talk or talking with the people or giving the sermon or giving the discourses, when you are getting the appreciation, you become very popular, it doesn't mean that you are a santa. It doesn't mean, you may be a very popular person. There are many people, professors, they are very popular. It doesn't mean they are santa, they are pure soul. No, they have a great desire. They always keep the record and they will be mentioning, I attended that college, I attended this lecture, I gave this book, I have written so many books, and go on advertising. Why? Because of the desire. So this is, they say, Akhila Bita Raga. There is no desire at all. Akhila means complete. Bita means gone, Raga, and apasta moha. Again, moha, delusion. The desire, because we don't understand the reality of this world, reality of this life. So we are deluded. Oh, that is a beautiful car, if I could get that. Oh, that is sometimes when you read in the newspaper, the horrible type of the news, informations, that a boy, he is torturing the mother for an iPhone, for an advanced phone. The poor mother, how she can pay so much money? But this boy is deluded. Because advertisement, you must have to have this type of phone and these and that. So slowly people start thinking these are the things one must have. I must have, or otherwise I am going to suffer. So that is called moha, the delusion. Apastha, it should go. The one is completely free from that. This is, we are giving up. Okay, then what to receive? The some negation is there. But what is the positive thing? What we are going to accept? Shiva tatta nishtha. Then the third line, the Shankara says, Shiva tatta nishtha. Nishtha means a complete dedication to understand the truth. A pure soul is he who has understood the futility of this world and living accordingly, adjusting that whatever the work that he has to do, he will do, but without any attachment. And then afterwards, he is dedicating his mind to the truth. Shiva. Shiva means auspiciousness, the purity. The Shiva Tattva. It is not the Shiva only, it is the Tattva. Tattva means the truth. What is the truth? The eternal consciousness, all-pervading consciousness, which is Brahman. And that consciousness sometimes takes the form and sometimes without form, it may be. So this is the way one can. So when the Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna mentioned they are pure souls, how we will know what is that purity? How we will know those who are genuinely trying to make the progress in spiritual life? We should know that these are the things. Spirituality means developing qualities and clearing the complete clear idea about the truth. And all these doubts will go. So two things are always repeated by the Guru Vasishta, Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, Shankaracharya and other scriptures. What are two things? First is moha, a Sanskrit word. That means delusion. Why delusion? Because of the Maya. And what is the Maya? That is covering the truth and imposing something else on that. That is the Maya. So that we are always deluded by that. Oh, it's so beautiful, so this, so that. Now we are constantly running after that and thinking if we get that we will be happy. But the happiness goes again and again and again like the mirages, like the miracles that happen sometimes, that they will be showing, oh, this is the thing you will get, and we jump on that and find it is nothing. So by that way constantly we are cheated by the Maya, but still we feel, oh, some other time we will be successful, we will get the joy. That is called moha. If that moha gone, then the desire also goes away. And desire for this worldly thing, no, I understood all this thing, futility, all this futile, all this temporary, I don't need that. These two things when they go away from the mind and a positive thing entered into that, because the mind cannot remain vacant. So that when we give up the moha and raga, that delusion and desire, when we give up, then mind become empty, and there it desire to understand the truth, devotion for God, that enter, that fulfills. That is a pure mind. So Sri Ramakrishna is asking, and so it happened that whenever the master was at Balaram's house, the devotees would gather there. It was the master's chief vineyard in Calcutta. It was here that the devotees came to know each other intimately. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, he was slowly developing a group of devotees whose ideas are very clear. Of course, the rituals are necessary, but why ritual? That is also necessary to understand that. We are very fond of ritual because Why? Because that it gives the lot of engagement. When some rituals are going on, some of the priests will come, they will be chanting the mantra, and the other people are there cutting the vegetables, cooking and bringing the flowers. Everybody is very busy and they are thinking they are doing some religious thing. Of course they are doing. But after the completion of all those things, what is the result? Whether my delusion, moha, has gone, whether my understanding is very clear about this world, whether my devotion for God has increased, these are the questions every devotee must ask after the ritual. Ritual is always good, it is necessary. But after the ritual, we should try to gaze ourselves, examine ourselves. Am I a better person today after this ritual? Otherwise, just engagement, just passing some time. So that is why Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna is very, very clear. When he used to come and visit, there will be no yajna, there will be no this, no that, only discussion, and to encourage people, some devotional songs. Sometimes they will be dancing because of the joy, to express the joy of devotion. This is the physical expression, the dance. Aim taught in a school in the neighborhood. He often brought his young students to visit the master at Balaram's house. On this day, having learnt of Sri Ramakrishna's arrival, Aim went there at noon during the recess hour of the school. He found the master resting in the drawing room after his midday meal. Several young boys were in the room. Aim prostrated himself before the master and sat by his side. Master tenderly, "How could you come now? Have you no schoolwork?" So Sri Ramakrishna was careful. Why? Swadharma. As because this Master Mahashaya, you know, he wanted to become a monk, he wanted to give up his family and all that, renounce, we can say. But Sri Ramakrishna said, no way, you should not do that. As a teacher, you must teach the young people, the students, not only the subject but also the morality and the truth about life. So that is your sadharma. By that way also you can serve God. Balaram in one way serving God. Master Mahashaya, a teacher, and he should serve the God by performing his duty. So when he is there, the school naturally, Sri Ramakrishna, he is asking, but not rudely or, hey, why you are here? He is very tenderly, he is asking. He could understand the Master Mahashaya was very much attracted to him. He had a very pure mind. All the time he wanted to listen to the different type of discourses, spiritual discourses. He has come. Have you no schoolwork? The Master Mahashaya, I have come directly from the school. Just now I have no important work to do. The recess period, the people will be taking rest, students will be taking some snacks. So that is the time he has come. Then a devotee, jokingly he is mentioning, because they are all there, he said, no sir, he is playing truant today. So that means maybe he is adjusting his class with someone, and that is the way. So he is just joking with that. All are laughing. Sometimes students will do that. Sometimes in the colleges also, I don't know in this country, but in our country they used to have the roll calls. Sometimes the friends will adjust. It's a big class. So one will say, hey, when the teacher will ask my name, that he will call my roll number, you just say, yes, present. He is not going to see who said that. So that is the way they do. He must have done that truant today. Aim said to himself, he is soliloquizing, alas, it is indeed as if some invisible power had drawn me here. So when we were discussing who is a pure soul, his mind is always attracted towards God. Sometimes I see the young ladies, young mothers, after performing their duties, they come and meditate in our shrine. I am so much impressed seeing their genuine, the sincere attitude. And hours together, sitting over there, meditating, taking the name of God, is a genuine love for God, genuine desire to become pure. So this is there. At the same time, if the other two are there, Swadharma they are doing, but there is no desire for the worldly objects in that way, and they have clearly understood the temporariness of these worldly objects, then the mind is pure. As Swami Vivekananda said, it is necessary to become a pure person. How? In thought, in action, and also in speech. In three ways one should be pure. The master, looking a little, aim had a secret desire to renounce the hearth and home. But Sri Ramakrishna never wanted that, because he was having the children. He was having his elderly mother and wife. If that person goes away, what will happen? Sri Ramakrishna, of course, he wanted that the young minds should renounce the world instead of getting entangled in the worldly things. So he used to encourage young people. But when one has already become a householder, having children, wife and household, and if he suddenly leaves that responsibility, who will look after that family? So Sri Ramakrishna, looking a little thoughtful, asked aim to come nearer. He said, "Please wring out my wet towel and put my coat in the sun." See, sometimes the holy people, they ask for personal services. Why? By personal services, the person who is doing, he is receiving the good effect, because the holy person is constantly practicing the holiness. By serving him, they also get the benefit of that. So that is the reason we go to the shrine, we serve in the shrine, we serve the God. That is, we get some good result out of that. Of course, same way, if someone is serving a really good holy person, getting Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna wanted to help master, the teacher. He had a strong desire. So Sri Ramakrishna himself, the God himself, is giving the opportunity to serve. When the people are reading, oh, why this? Why there should be? They don't understand this. By this type of services, they become benefited. I remember the story that one of the direct disciples of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, Swami Turiyananda, he was sitting, as those who have visited the Belur Math, they can understand, it's called Old Belur Math, Old Temple. In front of that, just by the side of that, there is the double-storied building where Swami Vivekananda is to stay, and below on the ground floor, there's the big the bench is there, still it is there, the same bench. The direct disciples is to sit on that, sometimes after the morning, the prayer and all that. Swami Turiyananda Ji was sitting over there. Then one of the brahmacharis, those who used to attend him personally, so cleaning his what's called the clothes and all that, serving him personally, he was coming down from the shrine. Suddenly Turiyananda Ji got up and started rebuking him, and he started scolding him. Then the brahmachari was perplexed, he was confused. I didn't do anything, I am just coming down from the shrine. why the Swami is so angry. So anyway, he somehow came down and he almost ran away from there. Another senior monk was there sitting. When the Swami came back and sat, he said, I can understand why suddenly you are scolding him. Then the Turiyanandaji Maharaj told, I didn't scold him. I was scolding and trying to drive away a bad soul who was trying to influence that brahmachari. This pure soul could see this. Now it's a mystical thing. It is not possible to prove, but these are truth. That he saw as a bad soul trying to enter the mind or to impress the mind of the young brahmachari, the young novice. So there, these Swamis are coming out to help them. So this is the way the Sri Ramakrishna, he felt concerned, he called him and he was telling, my legs and feet ache, please rub them gently. M felt very happy. It is not that, he asked for the personal service as an egoistic person, and not like that. And as because the Master Mahashaya, he was becoming pure, he immediately understood why, for what purpose Sri Ramakrishna asking him to do it. M felt very happy to be given the privilege of rendering these services to the Master. Sri Ramakrishna said to him, can you tell me why I have been feeling like this the past few days? It is impossible for me to touch any metal. And that Sri Ramakrishna, it is very special in his characteristic. He couldn't touch the metal. And in those days, the coins that were made of metals, obviously, so he couldn't touch that. When the young Naren came to know, those who have read the biography, they know this incident. When young Naren came to know that Sri Ramakrishna can't touch those coins, he wanted to examine. Sri Ramakrishna went out in that room, the Dakshineshwar is always open. All people are coming. This young boy, he kept some coins under his bed without the notice of anyone. Now Sri Ramakrishna came back after paying the homage to the goddess Kali and other gods and goddesses there. When he came back, he just wanted to sit on his bed. The moment he touched the bed, he stood up, and as if something strung over there, he couldn't touch the bed. Then Naren saw that. He felt ashamed. He went from there, went out. He understood that Sri Ramakrishna is very, very truthful. He didn't notice something that those coins. Even those coins that was under the bed, even then also Sri Ramakrishna could not touch the bed. Friends, you are free to believe it or not to believe it. But Sri Ramakrishna, the God himself, he was completely that way. He taught us what? These metals, forget about the coins. These metals, these are the main thing the people always anchor for. The money, the gold and jewelries and these and that. The Sri Ramakrishna, he shunned that. He shunned when he gave that up. It was in such a condition, even the just mere touch of that was painful for him. Can we imagine that purity? So that is Sri Ramakrishna. He is asking, and he is telling that to the Master Mahashaya, that I have given up, and given up means 100%. I cannot even bear the touch of it. Then he is telling that I sometimes told the mother, Mother, please allow me what to do. I have to touch the metal for some other thing, like the drinking glass, the glass is there, I have to touch it and all. But no, nothing like that. So it said, Mother, I shall never do it again. Please forgive me this time. Then what he did, he covered the metal, some jar, the water jar, with a towel, and that he was holding. Somehow he touched the metal and immediately that unbearable pain. So he is praying to the mother, I'm sorry, so I will never do it again. The younger Noren often visits me. Do you think his people at home will object? He is asking the Master Maharshai. And Master Maharshai was a teacher, he used to handle the students. He knew most of the families also. In those days, the teachers were like that, very well connected with the students, connected with the family of the students. And so they used to go even talk to the parents. So it's Ramakrishna asking Master Maharshai about that young boy who is to come to him. His old name was Noren. He is a large receptacle. Master Maharshai said that. He can accept, he can understand the spirituality. That he meant by that. Then the Master Ramakrishna said, that is true. Further, he says, he remembers spiritual things after hearing them once only. The spiritual thing means this is very subtle. Most of the time, you will find even a very intelligent person, he understands so many things, but when you talk about the spirituality, he can't understand that. Because of the Dhi Shakti. The Dhi Shakti, intelligence is there, Buddhi is there. His intellect is very sharp. He can understand many other things of the worldly things. He can understand science, he can solve the mathematical problems. But the spiritual understanding, that is, it needs the Dhi, the Sanskrit word Dhi. That is a very subtle type of intellect that gives the clear understanding about the spiritual life. Sri Ramakrishna mentioning about that young boy who used to come to him, whose name was Naren, that not only that, he can understand, he can accept the spiritual teaching, not only that, he said he remembers spiritual teachings after hearing them once only. He told me, I used to weep in my boyhood because I couldn't see God. That means that simplicity and the belief that the God is there, and if I pray to God, I can see God. By that way, he used to cry. The master and aim were thus talking about the young devotee when someone reminded aim of his school. The Sri Ramakrishna, what is the time now? A devotee, it is 10 minutes to 1. The Sri Ramakrishna to aim, you had better go now. It is getting late for you. You have left your duties. To Latu, where is Rakal? He is asking. Friends, when you talk about the Swadharma, the one should be very careful about his own duty. Whatever the responsibility that I have received, I have accepted, I must perform that, and truly I should do that, willingly I should do that, and as best possible way I should do that. And I should not regret for that. But at the same time, I want to go to a holy company and I like to listen to the discourses of the holy people. It's good. To do that, if I go to the office and say I am present and then I am coming secretly without attending the duties to listen to the holy words, no, that is not good. That there should not be any falsehood. That is exactly what the Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna is telling, that you may get late, you better go. So, because this is your duties. After school hours, Master Maharshai returned to Balaram's house and found the master sitting in the drawing room surrounded by his devotees and disciples. Among them were Girish, Suresh, Balaram, Latu, and Chunilal. Friends, many of you now are acquainted with these names. So they were nearby. Those who are living in Calcutta, they know. Those who have visited those places. These are holy places now. The Girish Ghosh house was very close to the Balaram Bose house. So he came. It was the afternoon. After all of his duties, they could come. And Sri Ramakrishna he came in the morning from the Dakshinesha. He took lunch. He was taking rest. He was talking to the devotees. And now that all these devotees, Calcutta devotees, they have come, and Sri Ramakrishna, the Master Mahasaya noticed, and he is telling, Master's face was beaming with sweet smile, because all these devotees have come and they are eager to listen to hear the Sri Ramakrishna's words and ready to follow that. Then slowly they are all well-established people. If they are accepting it, it will percolate in the society, and that is the whole purpose of an avatara. Dharma sthapana, reestablishing, putting the righteousness on the right track. People, they do follow that again and again, as we are mentioning. They do follow the rituals, but without understanding why we are doing it. They go to temple without having the goal. What is the purpose of my visiting temple or holy places? Understanding is the very first thing one should have. So when they all came, they were listening, ready to listen to the Sri Ramakrishna. He was happy. The master to Girish, Sri Ramakrishna to Girish, you had better argue this point with Narendra and see what he has to say. The Girish was pointing something. The Girish, Narendra says that God is infinite. We cannot even so much as say that things or persons we perceive are parts of God. How can infinite have parts? It cannot. This Narendra means Swami Vivekananda afterwards. He was not ready to accept the avatar tattva, reincarnation theory, that God can become a human in human form. He was not ready to accept that. So he used to argue with the Girish. Girish believed that God is all powerful, so obviously God can take the human form. When Girish mentioned that, Sri Ramakrishna was amused to see that the young boy, hardly it was 17, 18 years old, so naturally he was amused to hear the Narendra debated. Friends, we will stop over here. The time is up. Now we will listen to this Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, what he wanted to say about this debate. Thank you. Is there any question?
Yes, ma'am. The first question is from Birendra Majumdar. He is asking, whenever I bow down to any deity of God, Thakur and Sri Ma come in my mind. Is it wrong?
No, Virendra Babu, it cannot be. If your love for Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna and Ma Sharada, though they are so close, not having 4 hands or 10 hands like the Durga or Kali, but still they are God, they are goddess. Why? Because the manifestation of the unique quality which is impossible in human life. So they are gods. So God and goddesses. It's good that you are remembering them. It's always good. Thank you.
Kamal Chaudhary is asking, if God has become everyone and everything in the world, are all desires people have actually desires of God?
God has manifested in this way. That is the answers Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna will give, and we will discuss about the Avatara Tattva in next class. And we will go a little deeper into that, the incarnation theory, in our next Wednesday discourse. The God has manifested, but how he has manifested? just by power of God. So all that we see is nothing but the creation of God, but they are not God. So this we will discuss in our next class in a clear way. Thank you.
Sanhita Banerjee is asking, how should we overcome unknown fear in our life which sometimes appears in our mind?
So Nita, this is really, really difficult to go beyond the unknown fear. Why? Because naturally, the human mind, we are always afraid of unknown things. But here, only one thing we can have, that is the faith in the existence of God, and God is all powerful. And when we are praying to God, God will save us. So by that way only we can have. See how when in the pandemic, how these people, they were working, the nurses, the doctors and the health workers, when everybody was shunning, everybody was protecting themselves, these courageous people, they are going and not only meeting those patients, they are touching them, giving them whatever they needed. Are not they courageous? But many of them, they mentioned that because of the faith. First is, I have to do, this is my duty. Second, the faith. They are just courageous like the soldiers. When the soldiers, they go to the war, they know anything may happen. But with the courage they go, and with the faith, that God is there, God will protect me. So just like that we have to face unknown fear may be there, but God is also there. God will protect me. I have that faith. Have faith and face the fear. Thank you.
Devashish is asking, can you please repeat the story of Swami Turiyanandaji again?
That will be the long story. So the Turiyanandaji, he was a great yogi. He could see that anything that is going to harm. So he saw that a bad soul is trying to harm that brahmachari, that novice. So being a monk of that, immediately he tried to save him. So that is the story in short. Thank you.
There is one more question. Jeff is asking, Americans work longer hours than those in many other countries to maintain our living, our standard of living. Can we work too much and hurt our attention to spiritual focus?
Jeff, the sadharma, as because you have accepted some of the responsibilities, some duties. So at this moment, since you have accepted that work, you must perform, and then whatever little time is there, you just remember God. And if when you are remembering sincerely God, I don't have time, so only maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I can take your name. But whenever there is a possibility, like you are bathing, you are cooking, you are doing some other thing, errands, driving, go on taking the name of God. That will be sufficient. And when you are very sincerely asking God, praying to God, God, I like to dedicate more time in meditation, in prayer. Please reduce my responsibility. Know it for sure. Time will come. Your responsibilities will be, as Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna himself promised, that will be adjusted, reduced in a very wonderful way. Everything that you want will be there. At the same time, you will get a lot of time to spend for God. Have faith. Thank you very much. Friends, let us chant this mantra and we conclude. Niranjanam nityam anantarupam bhaktanukampa dhrita vigraham vai Ishavasaram Parameshamidhyam Tam Ramakrishnam Shirasa Namamaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.